In this example, we're going to take a look at the process of getting a picture of your models out of Aspire so that you can use them in your own brochures or marketing materials or website. So in particular here, I'm focusing on an image of your model rather than the model itself. So I'm going to start with this example of a sign which we've sort of just mocked up, which is coloured using the component colours broadly in the way that we might expect the finished item to be. And the first thing I want to highlight before we go any further is that when you've finished actually building your design, you're likely to have in the 3D view quite a few elements that you wouldn't want in the rendered image. So the first thing to remember to do is to turn off all the extra bits that the 3D view is providing you during design time so that we just get a good clean image. So the things here, for example, we've got the origin marked for the material block itself in wireframe showing us the material that we're intending to cut this out of, plus this translucent sort of bit of wood here, which is the modeling base plane. So we can turn all those off using the options in the view menu, just like so, and that immediately starts to make the image look a bit cleaner. And what if I save this now using the default setup? So I'm going to go View and save the shaded image. That's quite tricky to say. I'm just going to overwrite this one. So I'm saving here as a PNG file. We've got various options for different sorts of things, but the PNGs are quite a good all-round file format, and we'll show in a minute that it has some special use as well. So I'm just going to save this as image 1 up here, overwrite the existing one, and in Word I'm just going to drop that image in at the top here, and we can see that that's quite good. So we've dropped in a nice image there, but it's got the whole of the 3D view's gradient filled background there, and we might not want that. It's detracting somewhat from the finished model, but it would be really difficult to remove that in a paint package because it's a gradient fill, it's not a single color. So to select that area using the sort of standard Magic Wand type tools that you get in paint packages is quite tricky. So to avoid that problem in the first place, we have a new option from Aspire 3.5 onwards, which is that if you turn off that gradient background, which again is an option in the view menu, so instead of having the shaded background, I can just unselect that. It goes to a plain color. But with that in this mode, when I now save as a PNG file in particular, the PNG file format supports transparency. So it supports the idea of areas with no color and content at all. And it's the only one of the output file formats that we have that does that. And by default, what will happen now, if I save this image again, just with that turned off, and I'll save this one as image 2, so I'll just overwrite that existing one. And if we now go back to Word and I delete this original one, and instead we drop in image 2, you'll see that now it's replaced that solid area of color with nothing, with transparency, which is very handy. And in Word, for example, you can now take the text wrapping here, set tight, and it will allow the text to flow into that space. And we can just grow this image up a wee bit and place it down here, and you get a much nicer sort of finish for your newsletter. So again, that would be really difficult to achieve if you tried to do it after you've output the image. So don't forget that if you turn off the shaded background and use the PNG output, that will remove any transparency. That will remove the background and replace it with transparency in your output file format.